Belt to domination. The first game that happened between these two sides, the first classico of the season, ended 4-0 in favor of Barcelona at the Santiago Bernabeu. One of the most embarrassing results of Real Madrid's recent history. Mbappe's disaster class of his offsides, Lamine Yamal and Raphinha's master classes, Lewandowski putting on a clinic in center forward play. And after, I came out and said, the next time these two sides play, it has to be circled in the calendar 1,000 times in red. Real Madrid had to look at that game as revenge. They owed it to their fans, and they owed it to world football to return in this fixture and show the world why this project was so gassed up this year when Mbappe joined the Galacticos. Obviously, the return leg happened a lot earlier than I expected because we've had the Supercopa today. And again, it was a huge opportunity for Real Madrid to turn up and showcase why everybody hyped them up as much as they did before a ball was kicked this season. And after 5 minutes, let's call it how it was, Mbappe grabs that goal off a vicious trademark counterattack between himself and Vinicius Jr. Vinny finds him on a 2v2, picks up the ball almost near the halfway line, forces Balde to retreat. Kubarsi is there as well too. Does extremely well Mbappe. Finishes past Szczesny. In fact, it looked like vintage Kylian Mbappe. And Mbappe, the last few weeks has actually been, looking a lot more like himself. And that goal right there almost seemed like the ultimate revenge moment. You almost got the impression that Mbappe has had that fixture at the Bernabeu where he was caught offside over 10 times locked in his memory, and that this was the fixture where he was going to show up and show out. And after 5 minutes, it looked like that was the direction the game was going in. But wow, what a difference an 85 minutes after makes. Because after that moment, it became Barca, and Barca domination. Starting off with the boy wonder, the kid with the world at his feet. The last few weeks, he's been in and out of the team. Missed a huge part of I think it was November and December through injury. And coincidentally, that's been Barcelona's worst period of the La Liga season. They've dropped so many points in his absence. Since he's come back, came back against Bilbao in the semifinals, I believe. Masterclass. And today, starting from the beginning, when a lot of people were rumoring at the start that he wouldn't even make the starting 11, the goal that he scores, man. Oh, wow. Picks it up, cuts in, beats one, beats two, slots it, just passes it. He didn't even shoot it. He just eases it, bottom corner. Courtois doesn't stand a chance. It's vintage like Arjen Robben, honestly. But it's like Arjen Robben at his best in the form of a 17-year-old. It's just absolutely... I'm lost for words at this point. I don't know the words that match up to the talent. Any word that I use is not going to explain Lamine Yamal well enough. Like, I could say sensational, magisterial, brilliant, otherworldly. I still feel like those words don't do him justice. I'm struggling to find the vernacular, the vocabulary that it honors him. The words I'm using aren't enough. This kid is a joke. He's on a different level. He plays the game at his own pace. He's a magician. Makes it 1-1. The second goal, Lewandowski grabs it. And Lewandowski the last few weeks, I'll be real, he's kind of been returning to Lewandowski of the last season when Barca fans were kind of asking for him to leave the club. But there's something about Real Madrid that when Lewandowski faces this club, dating back all the way to 2013, he just remembers who he is. I'm Robert Lewandowski, one of the best strikers of all time. Goal, 2-1. They didn't stop there. You would think maybe, the goals are going to start exchanging. No, 3-1. Koundé, halfway, ball over the top, evades everybody. Raphinha, brilliant header, bottom corner. Courtois stands no chance. 3-1. And then right at the stroke of halftime, there was like 10 minutes of added time added on. Counter-attack from Barcelona. And by the way, they broke on Real Madrid like 2v1, 3v1, 4v1, 4v2 so many times because of how open Real Madrid were. And I believe it was Raphinha and Balde on the break. Balde gets it, finishes past Courtois. And before the halftime whistle even blows, Barca are beating Real Madrid 4-1. Second half starts, Raphinha adds another. Mbappe gets fouled by Szczesny. Szczesny gets a red card. Barca go down to 10 men. Rodrygo scores a brilliant free kick. The remaining 30 minutes, it's Real Madrid are trying. They can't even break down Barcelona even with 10 men. But it's not even about the goals or whatever, guys. Honestly, right? The first game of these two teams meeting, I really blamed a lot of it on Mbappe and I blamed a lot of it on the players. I think today the blame goes solely on the manager. I think Ancelotti has actually left his team to drown today. He has completely let his team down. The selection. At some point, right, when a player tells you who he is, when a player shows you who he is so many times, you gotta believe it. People tell you who they are. Believe it. Lucas Vazquez cannot play right back in 2025. It's over. He might have done it a few years ago with Zidane. When Carvajal was out, he did a job. He can do it on the odd game, but I'm sorry. Vázquez can't play right back. You gotta find a different solution. Whether it's what you did bringing in Raul Asensio. If he can come in, why can't he start? Whether it's playing Fede Valverde out there, you have to find something else. Vázquez is a liability. Vázquez has a part to play in almost every single goal Real Madrid's conceded today. Almost every single goal Real Madrid conceded today, he's at the heart of it. But it's not just him. Tchouaméni. I like Tchouaméni. I think Tchouaméni's a top player. I really think he's a talented player. I see a lot of people now completely turning their backs on Tchouaméni, saying he's garbage. I think he's a player that's in a tough situation right now playing at center back. But he can't play there. That's the moral of the story. He's getting exposed there. He's actually looking really, really bad there. And his partner, Rodrygo, who for my money was the best center back in Europe last season, this year has regressed into one of the worst. Honestly, Rodrygo is a shadow of his former self from last year. The way Raphinha twisted him and Tchouaméni out, inside out, had him chasing shadows. They're chasing runners. It's just a shambles, man. Honestly, it's a shambles. And the midfield as well too is so open. Honestly, Real Madrid, they want to play this game where like they play super open, they play super high, and they don't want any other team to attack them. Basically, they feel like they're the only ones playing. That's almost the impression you get from them. They're so open in midfield. They can't seem to get a hold of the ball. They can't pass it more than 8 times without booting it long into the channels for Vinicius and Mbappe. And they get picked apart like it's nothing. Jude today was chasing shadows. Honestly, Jude, you could be forgiven for thinking he wasn't playing in the first half. For how brilliant he's been the last few weeks. Today, he dropped a straight 0 out of 10. Camavinga was lucky to finish all 9. He was lucky to actually stay on the pitch. He was lucky not to be red carded. His penalty that he conceded to Lewandowski was shambolic. Honestly, Gavi picks up the ball. Camavinga lazy foot fouls him. Fede is the only one that even shows a single modium of professionalism. Maintains his level at least a 7 out of 10. Vinicius, oh man. This is one of the worst games you'll see Vinicius play for Real Madrid. Awful, awful. There was one occasion where he's running down the wing and he just kicks the ball out. Vinicius today, like why even show up? The only one today, honestly, and it's shocking compared to his first game, the only one that leaves today with any kind of grace, any kind of decorum from Real Madrid is Kylian Mbappe. He's the only one today that tried, that had things work out, that was a threat, that took on his defenders, that created chances, that took his goal. He's the only one. Everybody else today for Real Madrid, put it in the bag, man. Put it in the bag. You might as well stay home, honestly. But genuinely, I don't blame them. I blame Ancelotti today because I genuinely think today Ancelotti has let his team down massively. Massively. And Ancelotti is always a weird talking point when it comes to football, right? Because people often get onto him for his tactics or lack thereof. And I feel like it's lazy analysis, right? You're not as successful a manager as Ancelotti is if you're a tactically inept manager. He has his own style that isn't easily recognizable, like, say, a Pep Guardiola. And I wouldn't say he's the most tactically excellent manager ever too. But I always feel he manages to kind of identify a group of players and build a system and build a platform to get his best players playing at their best. And I don't think everybody can do that with the world-class players. I think there are very few managers that manage elite level players as well as Ancelotti. I'll always give him that. But I think it's becoming very, very clear now that Ancelotti cannot get a grip of this team. He can't. I'm not trying to be reactionary here, and it's not disrespect. He's one of the greatest managers of all time. But I don't see how much more we have to see of this to come to the conclusion that Ancelotti can't coach this team as well as they need him to. At some point, that has to be a consensus opinion here. Ancelotti is not coaching this team to their max capacity. He's not. His substitutions aren't good enough. His lineups aren't good enough. I think the way he's setting his team up to play isn't good enough. And look, I think everyone knows at the end of the season, they're probably going to move on from him. But is that almost too late? Football moves quick, bro. Like, you don't have these players forever. I'm not saying sack Ancelotti, but I genuinely think that should be a question here. You know what? It might actually be. I'm looking at Florentino Perez today, who's watching the game from the stands in Jeddah, and he looks furious. He looks so angry. And the Perez of a few years ago, bro, Ancelotti's gone tomorrow. I feel like Perez has kind of chilled out the last few years, but the Perez that I know, Ancelotti's gone, bro. Conceding 9 goals in 2 games to Barcelona. They've lost 4-0 and 5-1. And I'm not sure which one is more humiliating. I think today, if Szczesny doesn't get sent off, this could have ended 6-7 or 8. It genuinely could have ended 6-7 or 8. Following up 4-0 at the Bernabeu. That's humiliating. This is a team that have had so much money invested in them. They've recruited so many of the world's biggest, most recognizable stars. And they're getting smoked by Barcelona, their arch rivals. At some point, Ancelotti's job is going to come into question. Just like I always say with players, as a manager, your job is to get the most out of your team. It's to set your team up with the best chance to win. I don't know if Ancelotti is setting up this Real Madrid team with the best chance to win. I don't. And they're always going to be Real Madrid in the Champions League. And the fact is, look, Barcelona is becoming a bogey team for them. They don't have to play Barca 38 games a season to win La Liga. They still could, but I don't know, man. I'm really, really underwhelmed by this Real Madrid team. Today's performance, wow. They could have genuinely lost by 8. Like, I have a scoreboard at the top right when I do these streams with these watch-alongs, and I add a number every time someone scores. I didn't have numbers for 6, 7, 8. Like, if they had lost by 6, 7, 8 today, I got to go back to Google and download more numbers. We're talking about Real Madrid. We're not talking about Bolton. We're not talking about Wolves. We're talking about Real Madrid. It's embarrassing. But on the other hand, Barcelona. Wow. They just turn up against Real Madrid, don't they? They just know how to get it done against Real Madrid. And this attack, this front three of Lewandowski, Yamal, and Raphinha is just exhilarating. I think it's the best attack in world football. I think that those three, their individual qualities, their chemistry together, mixed with how good of an attacking manager Hansi Flick is, I think they're the best front three in football. Raphinha, right, is turning into a revelation. Yo. Yeah, I'm doing my Barca review right now. We're not streaming.
Barca review hype!
Let's fucking go, bro. I told you, man, the attackers are schmucks, bro.
Hey, talking about Barcelona review. Listen,
yeah,
it's getting real uncomfy for
Look at the
Mbappe,
camera,
bro.
Well, I thought he was the best player for Real Madrid today.
What, you're gonna let Yamal beat you 3 times in a row?
Bro, I'm looking at Vinicius today, bro.
Yo,
real.
you see, this is... Look,
Hold on.
That's chains getting snatched, bro.
No, but hold on. Did you watch the game today?
No, I didn't. I couldn't.
Mbappe was actually their best player.
Really? Yeah?
Bro, Mbappe was by far and away. Like, I was almost going to quote my tweet saying, yeah, he's leaving here with Son. He's the only one that turned up for Real Madrid today.
Really?
Vinicius and Jude. Today... Jude should have stayed home. Vinicius is the worst guy I've seen him play for Real Madrid in years.
His head's gone after that.
Now, Mbappe, it's a bad look now. Yamal is belt to ass every time.
But remember, there was a time where Mbappe was snatching Messi's chain.
Bro, not for real.
Your mom was like, yo, what goes around comes around, baby. I'm here to revenge the other 10.
Check your window. Check your mirrors, bro. Honestly, check your mirrors. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, he just came back from the Arsenal United game. But Raphinha, bro, honestly, like, we talk about Ballon d'Or favorites this year, and I feel like Raphinha's name isn't mentioned outside of La Liga fans as much as it should be. Maybe it's because Prem fans remember him from the Prem when he was at Leeds, and he was a good player, but no one would ever say he was one of the best players in the world. But guys, watch Barcelona this season. There aren't 3 better players in the world this year than Raphinha. I don't believe that. I think Salah is playing at an unbelievable level. Unbelievable. And Yamal, his teammate, is crazy. Raphinha's up there, man. Raphinha's up there. If I had a Ballon d'Or podium today, those would be my 3 players in different order, but that'd be my 3 players right there. Incredible. Raphinha, he wears the armband as well too. It almost feels like the captaincy has given him a newfound sense of leadership and maturity, and he's such a threat on his left. He's such a threat 1v1. He's a creative machine this year. The amount of chances he puts on a play for Lewandowski is crazy. I'm massively impressed by Barca. But guys, Real, man, they're in trouble. Can I give a shout out as well too to Ronald Araujo? Araujo today came on for the injured Inigo Martinez, and he came on. He wore the armband. I think did he take the armband off Raphinha, or did he just one of the two? He was wearing the armband at one point. Araujo's a player that's linked with going to Juventus this year, and I'll be real, I don't really understand it. I understand Araujo's had a lot of injury problems, and I understand as well too that Inigo Martinez has come in and take his position because he's played brilliantly. And I remember the PSG game from last year. That's a big blotch on Araujo's resume. But I think Araujo's one of the best center backs in the world. I think he is. I remember a few years ago, 22-23, I think was the season. Araujo was incredible when Barcelona won the league. Araujo, I remember there were games, whenever Real Madrid played Barcelona, normally he plays center back, Koundé plays right back. Xavi would move Araujo out to right back and Koundé to center back against Real Madrid, strictly so Araujo could play against Vinny. And he locked him up nearly every single time. I remember we played, Man United played Barcelona that season too, and Rashford was in the middle of his unbelievable run of form scoring goals. In the home leg at Old Trafford, they moved Araujo to right back to play against Rashford. Rashford didn't get a sniff. And I think in football, we're often too quick to it's like, if you're not good for me today, you were never good for me, or you're never good for me again. I still think in Araujo, there's a top center back. Like, for me, genuinely, I believe he's one of the best in the world. And maybe it comes away from Barca. At the end of the day, if Inigo and Kubarsi are going to play as well as they are, then they have financial issues, you might as well capitalize. But when I see Chelsea after Guehi, or I see City after these young center backs, I think Araujo should be on the wish list of every single big European team looking for a center back. I genuinely believe he's that good. And today, I thought his cameo again, top notch. But as for Real Madrid, Jude, anonymous. Vinicius, not even anonymous, awful. Mbappe, the only one who can hold his head high. There's big question marks for this team, man. This is another huge problem on Ancelotti's plate. How do they respond?